Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're going to do a What's the Word with WHN. So this is Melissa and Beth with Wyoming Housing Network today, and we want to do our What's the Word on the street is update. So today we'd like to take some time to update you on some scams that we're seeing. We'd like to update you on what's going on with the forbearance and foreclosure moratoriums, and then we want to talk about potentially an update on money that might be coming to the state to assist homeowners. So we're going to get started today. We've seen an uptick in scam activities. So I asked Beth to come on and give an example of one of the most recent scams we've seen. So can you share with everybody what we saw last week?
Sure. So one of our clients received a phone call from a company that was out of California pretending to be attorneys. They didn't give a company name. They just said that they heard that they were facing a foreclosure, that they were right now in a forbearance. So when your forbearance ends, you normally have to apply for either a repayment plan or a loan modification. So they promised them a loan modification, which nobody can promise you one. You have to go through your lender. Lenders have to go through underwriters, and they have to run the numbers to get you approved. So nobody can promise you anything without knowing what your numbers are. Mm-hmm. So the first thing they asked for was $4,000 in advance, and then said that they needed them to start sending the mortgage payments, and they even gave them an amount of what the mortgage payments would be, and they wanted them sent directly to them, and they wanted them to sign a paper saying that they would go through them and no longer go through the lender. So that is something you definitely do not want to do. You want to have all contact with your lender and deal directly with them and not another company. And you should never, ever pay for help.
Yes. So, and that's one of the things about Wyoming Housing Network. We are a nonprofit organization. We have free foreclosure prevention counseling and years of experience in this. And so, Beth, give us again just a rundown, because one of the things that concerned us was that they had quite a bit of personal information about this person. They knew their forbearance. So really people need to be double checking with their lenders and reaching out to contact them if they have questions. But what are some other, I know you mentioned some in the story, but give us some other like really explicitly red flags that people should know this is a scam, or they should definitely not interact with that.
Right. One of the things, they targeted these people and they knew that they had a business. So right away, they kind of figured that they had money, and they kind of checked into their background. Also, you never want to sign your property over to them, and you never want to sign a paper saying that they have the right to speak to your lender, because they will contact your lender and say, you know what, the client no longer will have contact with you. You go through us. So then they're kind of, collecting your payments, and they're going to disappear finally once they collect all your money, and never send it to your lender, and then they're going to disappear and the phone number will be shut off and you won't be able to get a hold of them any longer. And then you're going to be in foreclosure.
So basically the scam that we want people to avoid is if you're sending it to the scam artist, they're keeping the money. You think they're sending it to your mortgage company, and that's not happening. So eventually what happens is you end up with a sale date on your property or very far into the foreclosure process before you even realize that you've been scammed. So do not send money to anybody but your lender, and do not sign paperwork unless you're working with a counselor, HUD certified counselor, or with your lending agency. Okay, great. Some great information there. So if you think you're being scammed, if you've got a weird phone call, you're not sure what to do with it, call us, check with us beforehand. We can help you talk to your lender to verify. We can tell you what trends we're seeing, but please reach out. People are very vulnerable right now, and the more vulnerable the population is and the more economic upheaval is and a pandemic, the scammers really come out of the woodwork, and they try to take advantage of it. So just protect your assets, protect your home. Just be very diligent in double checking any contact you get about your mortgage or any other bills that you might owe.
And they can make it sound really good, like they're going to save your home and you're going to come with this low payment, and they can't guarantee you any of that.
So if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Okay. So, so we just wanted to kind of get word on the street. Again, just look out for those scams and always double check. And use some of those tips that we've given you. The other piece of information I want to update you on is the foreclosure moratorium that was part of the CARES Act is coming up to expire at the end of this month. And so people who've been in forbearances or are not in a forbearance yet, your opportunity to request one through that program that's COVID related is coming to an end. And so we just want to kind of talk a little bit about what that might look like, Beth. So can you maybe, just for our audience, just review what a forbearance is and some of those terms?
So a forbearance is whenever your mortgage, you're unable to make your payments. So it kind of puts a temporary stop on your mortgage payments. Sometimes you can make a little bit of a payment. Sometimes there's no payments. It does not make the payments go away. You are still responsible for those payments. So there are different things that you can do. You always keep in touch with your lender. Mm-hmm. Right now, with COVID, they are going to offer a 3-month extension, but you can't go past the 18 months. So, talk to your lender about that. They'll let you know if you're eligible or not. Then whenever you get close to your forbearance ending, you need to get with your lender to see what your options are. There are different things like a repayment plan. Sometimes they'll put the money at the end of the mortgage, or they can offer you a loan modification, but you do have to apply for this, and you do have to be able to show that you're able to maintain your mortgage. And that's by having some type of income.
Okay. So the forbearance is kind of because of a financial hardship, at which COVID was for a lot of people, kind of a hold there. But when you're coming out of that forbearance, you need to be proactive in communicating with your lender. What are some other things people could do if they're in a forbearance right now? So some of our our watchers, I guess, might be in a forbearance now. What are some of the things they could do to get organized to be ready to talk to their lender about their options?
Okay, so usually whenever you go to apply after forbearance, they're going to want to know what type of income you have, because you need to show that repayment. You also have to have your tax returns for the last 2 years. They have to be signed and dated. You also need to have bank statements. Usually they want the last 60 days. They want every page, even the blank ones. And then normally a hardship letter needs to be written, signed, and dated. And then you'll have to get a uniform borrower application off of your lender.
Okay.
And that's specifically to, whatever your lender has.
So they have different forms. They might call them different things, but there's definitely an application process.
Yes.
And so really in those 30 days prior to, you want to be gathering that information in a file. You want to keep track of any correspondence you've had with your lender and keep that all in the same place so that you're organized and ready to go when it comes to exiting your forbearance.
Right.
So those are things that you have control over prior to the ending of the forbearance. We help people do that and navigate that process. That's what Beth does here as a foreclosure prevention counselor. So we're able to help people who are struggling with that or have other questions. But being organized and having your paperwork in order will go a long way in making that stress level come down for you when you go to work with your lender. So other thoughts on forbearance or foreclosure issues that people might be seeing coming up soon?
Just be prepared, open your mail, and remember, we're free of charge.
Yeah. So if you need help, reach out. You're not in this alone. If you're missing a mortgage payment, if you're behind, if you're already in a forbearance, if you're behind and you haven't requested a forbearance and you just don't know what to do, reach out to us. Beth can definitely help you get started with that because it can be an overwhelming process. So that's a little update there on the forbearance and foreclosure moratoriums. And the final thing that we kind of wanted to update people on, and it kind of rolls with getting your paperwork in order, is that the American Rescue Act has come out, and there are potentially funds coming to the state of Wyoming to help homeowners who are delinquent or behind in their mortgage. There's not a lot of details yet. The plan isn't written, but you can visit the Department of Family Services website. And on there, you'll see homeowner assistance. And it's a basic web page right now, but you can get on an email list to get updates. You can join town hall meetings. You can see the recordings of past town hall meetings. Eventually, there'll be a survey where you can give some of your information and input. It's kind of a needs survey that will come out. So there is a potential assistance coming. It is income-based and needs-based, but there hopefully in the next few months might be assistance as well. So we recommend you get on that list to get updates on what's going on with that program as well. And so we'll drop that link here in YouTube and also on Facebook and on Instagram to try and share that with our audience. Beth, why don't you share your contact information with people really quick? And
my phone number is 307-233-8511. My email is beths@whninc.org. Feel free to contact me anytime.
Yes. And so you can also learn more about our services at www.whninc.org and hit us up if you have questions or needs. But we are here to help people reach their housing goals. That's what Wyoming Housing Network does. And